Friday. What else do we need? Nothing. Nothing, I say. All right, here we go. Oh, there's the yard. Oh. All right. And here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Friday. Woo! March 12th, 2021. My name's Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Coffee is so good. Well, I had a pretty good day yesterday. Got some work done, talked to a new prospective client, went to the gym, ate some food, got some maple sap out of the trees. We'll see how much it ran yesterday. I didn't check it when I got home. But we're in the middle of sugar season, and I'm going to have to start boiling at some point. I'll probably start this weekend. Assuming there was a reasonable amount that ran, I'll start boiling this weekend. It's going to be cold this weekend, so it probably won't be much, if anything, that runs. But that's okay. The snow has melted enough. I might go tap a couple more trees, because tapping trees you can't get to, that's annoying. So this is why people use lines, vacuum lines. Draw all the sap downhill and boil it off in a shed, some kind of purpose-built place. Those of you that don't live in the Northeast have no idea what I'm talking about. But maple is a big industry. Think of all the times that you put maple syrup on your pancakes or something else, and know that for every one of those little jugs that you used, it took somewhere between 30 and 40 times as much sap. Most maple sap is 2.5 to 3.5% maple sugar. Back in middle school, we once found a tree and tapped it. We did all the testing, and that tree was insane. It was like 5%, and it was awesome. It was delicious. I don't think the tree that my partner and I tapped, I don't think any of that sap actually made it into the thing that the big evaporator. I think we just drank it because it was really good. Oh man. What else happened? Not much. Unsure what I'm going to do this weekend. Have an invite to go for a pretty long hike, and it's one that I'm a little bit unsure of. My knees aren't the best on long hikes. My knees been pretty good around 5 miles, even up to 6. They start to get a little wonky, but this is an 8, and it's far away. It's in New Hampshire. It's in the White Mountains, so be away from my resources. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. What else is going on? There is a video episode of yesterday's episode, video version, with Josh and I. That is up on YouTube. You can go check that out. The audio version was up briefly, but we pulled that in favor of the video one because, hey, who doesn't want to see what's going on rather than listen? And I did the outline for a guide on social media. I'll probably end up doing a martial arts version, but this one, the first one, will be general purpose. So if you have a business and you want to know all the things you got to know about social media, that's what this is going to be. Not so much for users of social media, because everybody out there makes it really complicated. It's not that complicated. It just requires some time and some attention. Anything else I can tell you? I don't know. I feel like it's been a boring week, and it hasn't been, but there just hasn't been much to say. I've got to figure out seeds and what I'm going to start growing stuff, and I'll probably do a test layout of all the lights and see if I need to buy more tables. Yeah. I don't know. I got nothing else. Nothing else for you. I'm gonna drive back up to Burlington. It was really, you know what? That's something I can say. It won't take long. It was really nice yesterday, and I got outside, went for a couple walks, talked to some people, and that was really nice. And I think I'm headed up to Burlington again today. Work at the co-working space. Maybe stick around, have some dinner with a friend. Maybe lunch. I don't know, something. We'll figure it out. We always do. All right, let's dig in. Oh, pardon me. What did you all give me to talk about? All right. Frank gave us some jokes. And I got a quote from Nish. And more quotes. Okay. Let's start with the jokes because it's Friday. So we start with the jokes. The jokes are Funday Friday, courtesy of Frank. Thank you as always, Frank, for all that you do. Today is Plant a Flower Day. I planned to organize all my dried flowers, but realized I had some more pressing problems to sort out. I was asked to choose my favorite plant, but there were 4 that I really liked in the room. I don't get that. Oh, because it's 2 lines. Let me try that again. I was asked to choose my favorite plant, but there were 4 that I really liked in the room. That placed me in an orchid situation. I attempted to teach my flowers math, but they kept ending up with square roots. What do you get if What do you get if you plant kisses? Tulips. What do you get if you cross a bicycle and a rose? Bicycle petals. What do you get if you cross a sheepdog with a carnation? A cauliflower. Those are good ones. I like growing plants. I do. I've got this palm over there that I've had this thing for. This tree's got to go back 15 years. And I repotted it once. It's still in a very small pot. But at the base, it's growing new trunks. All of a sudden, I have no idea why. Cool. I don't know, maybe I gave it enough nutrient. Maybe it got hot enough outside last summer. Who knows? It's mud season here. Does anybody else have mud season in other parts of the countries? Other parts of the country? Or the world? Is mud season just a Northeast U.S. thing? I don't know. This is a bit of a follow-up to some things that we've been talking about, or I suppose you could take it on its own. This quote is from Nish. I hate wars and violence, but if they come, then I don't see why we women should just wave our men a proud goodbye and then knit them balaclavas. Nancy Wake. I'm picking my words carefully. If a war is worth fighting, then it's worth everyone fighting. I don't think I need to expand on that. You can do with that what you will. And now we've got 4 quotes from, I don't want to say everybody's favorite Golden Girl, but most people's, Betty White. It's a fly. How's there a fly? I know unless I'm true to myself, I couldn't be happy. Too much emphasis is placed today on externals and too little on character. Yeah. And I think that that pendulum's starting to swing back. I think we're at this interesting point, and I think that what we're facing now with this pandemic is going to accelerate that. As we start to pull back, as we start to realize that for a lot of us, being at home and being around people have been really valuable. Things that people really wanted. I didn't mind the being home part. It was the not being able to be around people part. If I was married and had kids and lived with the people I cared about the most, this wouldn't have been a bad thing. Or I shouldn't say it wouldn't have been bad. I would have had a different perspective on it. We've seen a lot of changes, and we're going to keep seeing more changes. But I think one of the things that's going to change is a little less focus on, for some people, not everyone, a good chunk of society, this realization that rampant consumerism doesn't necessarily fill the void, the hole in your heart. Doesn't necessarily make things worthwhile. Next. Don't try to be young. Just open your mind. Stay interested in stuff. There's so many things I won't live long enough to find out about, but I'm still curious about them. You know, people who are already saying, I'm going to be 30. Oh, what am I going to do? Well, use that decade. Use them all. I think I can empathize with this sentiment. I turned 42 in 3 months. Less than 3 months. You probably wouldn't know it from talking to me. I definitely don't act it. And I never want to. I never want people to say, oh, yeah. I mean, other than the gray in the beard, which if I trim it well, you don't see very much of it. It's hard to know. I'm not going to act old. I am too curious about life. People, not that it's respectful at all, but I am someone who is not, it is not uncommon for people to treat me like a child. Because in some ways I remind them of a child because I'm constantly interested in asking questions and curious and having fun. And you know what? I don't want to do it any other way. I want to have fun. I want to learn. I don't want to get up and go to a 9 to 5 and punch a clock and come home and complain about my life. There are people who do that. If you're one of those people, I'm sorry. But you can change it. There's always a way. And then I think that the other piece in this quote that's really interesting is the idea that Betty White's old. There's no denying that. What is she, 90-something? Curious about things she won't live long enough to see. That's pretty interesting. The older we get, the easier it is to accept that at some point we're going to pass away and there are things that we won't see. But most of us draw a line in the sand. If it's not something that's going to impact our lives, we don't care about it. You can still be curious. You can still be interested. What about interest in how it's going to impact the lives of your kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, friends, others, anybody? There's a quote, and I'm not going to get it right, but I should be able to get the gist. The world changes when a man will plant a tree under which shade he will never sit, something like that. We are so hyper-focused on the now. And that's just been accelerating. We don't think about the future. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens to the concept of retirement in 20, 30 years when people my age, a little younger, get to their 60s and have no money saved up. Because we're not doing it nearly as much as past generation did. Something to think about. All right, next. I don't know how people get so anti-something. Just mind your own business, take care of your own affairs, and don't worry about other people so much. Preaching to the choir on that one. I think it is easy to yell, complain, care about something that you can have no impact on. It makes you feel like you're contributing. You can't get it wrong. You can't fail. If you can't change it, nobody else can point to it and say, yeah, but you didn't change it. You knew you couldn't change it going in. I'm raising awareness. Not that awareness doesn't matter. But that's often used as an excuse for filling your time with something that you can't change. You can tell I'm being picky with my words. What would the world look like, I think I've said this before, if we spent our time on things that we could impact, that we could affect? It'd be pretty different. It'd be a lot better, I think. Here's an example. When people complain about something going on with food, let's say chemicals in food, something like that. What if people spent that time growing some of their own food? I think that changes things a little bit more, don't you? Get them what they want, and it makes a substantial financial argument to the companies putting chemicals in food. We like to complain. Social media has definitely fostered a lot of that. Who can complain the loudest about the thing of the moment? And it's getting ridiculous. And not to say that the things that are happening are right or wrong, but how does complaining about it change anything? Everybody's entitled to their opinion. When the conversation came up about the Dr. Seuss books, everybody's entitled to their opinion on that. I have mine. I'm not going to share it because it doesn't matter. Because my opinion on it doesn't change anything. Whether those books are published as is, changed, removed, doesn't matter. Your opinion doesn't change anything either. If you want to read them, read them. If you don't want to read them, don't read them. Problem solved. Why not put that time and energy into something that you can actually have an impact on? There was an interesting statistic that came out. This goes back years. Remember Farmville? Farmville was like the first real big Facebook game, back when people played games on Facebook. it was tens of, if not hundreds of millions of people playing Farmville globally. And somebody did some math. And the sheer volume of food that could have been produced if the people playing Farmville had instead just grown a little bit of food in their backyard was mind-boggling. It would have taken care of double-digit percentages of what we eat. I don't remember if it was 10% or 20%, but think about that for a moment. There's a real impact, a real tangible action that you can take that has a result. So my encouragement is the next time you catch yourself investing a lot of time and energy into complaining, virtue signaling, whatever people call it, about something that you cannot have an impact on. And that's the important distinction. I am all for advancement and progress. And sometimes that progress takes a lot of time and energy. But you have to make a decision as to where your time goes. Every cause is not going to advance as a result of your commentary on social media or whatever, right? If you take care of yourself, which is the ultimate self-defense, a lot of these problems fall away. I think we got one more. Yep. It's your outlook on life that counts. If you take yourself lightly and don't take yourself too seriously, pretty soon you can find the humor in our everyday lives. And sometimes it can be a lifesaver. Absolutely. Humor is so critical. And that's been one of the biggest challenges, I think, for so many of us over the last year. So many of the ways that we find humor have been removed. The humor from getting together with other people and making jokes and laughing and hanging out, or going to stand-up comedy or going to a movie. And yeah, there's funny TV and there are funny movies and you can watch them from home. It's not the same experience. Is it a substitute? Yeah. Is it? I don't know whether it's adequate. That's subjective. But I think for a lot of us, we've discovered how important humor and funny and comedy is. You have to be open to it. You got to let it happen. If you've ever been in a class or a session, seminar, whatever that I've taught on martial arts, you know that I have fun. I make jokes. My expense, participants' expense. You have a good time. If you're enjoying life, if you're laughing, you're probably going to learn more. If you're laughing, if you're enjoying life, you're contributing something to the world that is necessary. You ever been in a room with somebody who's just unhappy, like visibly unhappy? It impacts you. Stacy says, lack of humor is what led to weekly online game nights hosted by Smashy, aka Laura. We laugh so hard during them. Good. Humor matters. Over the last year, I've realized how important good stand-up comedy is to me, because the specials that have come out have been few and far between, because how do they typically release a comedy special? Somebody goes on tour for 6 to 12 months and then they get that hour set together and then they record it and release it. Well, there hasn't been touring, and the little bit that's come out hasn't been very good. There was one that I saw come out, and I'm not going to throw shade at him because I actually like him as a comedian, but it wasn't very good. I turned it off in the first, I think, 5 minutes. I was like, ugh. But you better believe I'm going to be sitting at comedy clubs when we can. I miss it. Nice, Stacy. That's great. Stacy says that um, they're getting people together and costumes are encouraged. I love it. Blue skies. Daylight savings time coming this weekend. Ugh. It's okay. All right. We talked about some stuff. I ranted a little bit. More than normal. I got plenty of work to do. I think I'm gonna go write a short book and then get up to Burlington. Thank you for watching. Give me some stuff for Monday. Give me some comments, some feedback. Tell me what's going on with you. Tell me about your martial arts training and accomplishments. Stacey says, have an awesome weekend. Thank you, and you. If you're new, subscribe, notifications. We do the show every weekday, 6:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time here on YouTube. Check out all the other stuff that we do. If you've got feedback, Jeremy at whistlekick.com. If you want to support us, patreon.com/whistlekick or buy something at whistlekick.com. Use the code FIRSTCUP15 for something like this mug. You can get this mug for like 15. I think by the time the discount comes off, it's like $14 with shipping. It's not that much money. How don't you want to drink out of this mug while I drink out of this mug? Come on. How cool is that? It's not really that cool, but kind of fun. All right. Thanks for joining me. Time for work. Talk to you soon. Peace.